Well, good morning. Just turned afternoon. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm afraid that Mark, I suspect his battery has completely ran out. So we'll catch up with Mark hopefully in the not too distant future. In the meantime, now that we've covered all of the 15 victims of the sexting career, and pretty painful going at times it was too, you know. Now we get to the if you like, the really interesting bit. This might take me a while, several videos to get through. But what I'm going to do is run through the various press releases, with obviously particular interest in the fact that Stephanie Van Groll first alerted to the corner police the sexting in October of 2009, and of course Ken Kratz and some of his cronies that were on his side at the Wisconsin Department of Justice, they agreed to try and limit its being made public, although he had to get in touch with the Crime Victims' Rights Board. And I'll do a separate video where we look at the letter that he sent to the Crime Victims' Rights Board that basically said that he wasn't really to blame. It was just a bit of banter, and there was nothing ethical wrong about it. So there was no violations involved, and that he'd done the right thing. He had imposed the sanctions on himself. Therefore, aren't I the good guy in all of this? No, Ken, we all know what you're like. Anyway, let's look at then the first press release, or this is, well, it'll be obvious as I go through this what the situation is. Okay, so this is a press release from September the 15th of 2010. So this is virtually a year after Stephanie Van Groll first went to the Corner Police Department. Here we go. Chilton, Wisconsin. This is from the Associated Press. Police say a prominent Wisconsin district attorney sent repeated text messages trying to spark an affair with a domestic abuse victim while he was prosecuting her ex-boyfriend. The 26-year-old woman complained last year to police after receiving 30 texts from Calumet County District Attorney Kenneth Kratz in 3 days. A police report obtained by the Associated Press shows one message from the 50-year-old Kratz is a good name, Kratz, asked whether the woman was, quote, the kind of girl that likes secret contact with an older married elected DA, close quote. In several others, he talked about her good looks and his desire to start a relationship. On Wednesday, Kratz didn't deny sending the messages, but said the Office of Lawyer Regulation, the OLR, had found his behavior didn't violate rules governing attorney conduct. So obviously he's the kind of girl that likes secret contact with an older married elected DA. Wrong, because he's married. You're not going to be a DA for much longer, so it doesn't matter that you were the elected. Well, of course it matters, but do you know what I mean? It's the secret contact bit. He clearly knows that this is something that he's doing that's wrong. The elected DA bit, that's almost as if, aren't I this wonderful, wonderful person, and you need to cut me plenty of slack on this. Next one. Here we go. This was the very next day. This is Thursday, September the 16th, 2010. Again, Chilton, Wisconsin, again, Associated Press. A Wisconsin prosecutor known as an advocate for crime victims says he's embarrassed about sending sexually suggestive text messages to a strangulation victim. But Calumet County District Attorney Kenneth Kratz said Wednesday that he won't be leaving office. Kratz issued the statement after the Associated Press reported on the 30 texts he sent to 26-year-old Stephanie Van Groll in October 2009. She complained to police about the texts last year. At the time, Kratz was prosecuting Van Groll's ex-boyfriend on charges he nearly choked her to death. He also was veteran chair of the Wisconsin Crime Victims' Rights Board, which can reprimand judges, prosecutors, and police officers who mistreat crime victims. As I say, really so blatantly obvious that the fox was in charge of the hen house. Also Thursday, September the 16th. A Wisconsin prosecutor who sent sexually suggestive text messages to a domestic abuse victim tried to keep the matter from the public, his peers, and state regulators. Email messages obtained by the Associated Press show Calumet County District Attorney Ken Kratz even unsuccessfully tried to negotiate a settlement with state officials to avoid public disclosure of the case. The emails show Kratz at first resisted resigning as chairman of the Wisconsin Crime Victims' Rights Boards or reporting his conduct to the Office of Lawyer Regulation. He resigned from the board only after Wisconsin Department of Justice officials threatened to share the text messages he sent to the 26-year-old victim with the Wisconsin District Attorneys Association. The connection there is that the Wisconsin District Attorneys Association, which had actually nominated Ken Kratz to be the chairman, to be a member of the Crime Victims' Rights Board, and he was given the chairmanship of it. Complete mess. The emails were obtained by the Associated Press through the state open records law. 1, 2, 3. There we go with the fourth one. Again, same date, an update on Thursday, September the 16th. Again, Associated Press. The director of the Midwest Domestic Violence Resource Center says a Wisconsin prosecutor who sent sexually harassing text messages to a domestic abuse victim should resign. Darrell Hanusa says Calumet County District Attorney Ken Kratz abused his power and violated the victim's trust. This is interesting. He says that if he is capable of doing this once, he is capable of repeating the behavior. How prophetic. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? Maybe he'd already knew about Ken Kratz's reputation. Hanusa says he's seen other cases where an attorney takes advantage of a battered woman by inappropriately befriending her and starting, quote, where their abusive partners left off. Well, that's exactly what he was trying to do with Stephanie Van Groll, because we know from the other victims that he loves being in control, domineering, tying them up, getting them to do what he wants them to do. And if he doesn't, he hits them. And this is all videotaped in his little room in his house that only he goes in. Here's a great understatement. Kratz has called the messages a lapse of judgment. A lapse. A lapse for 25 years, Ken. But it says he plans to run for re-election in November of 2012. So that's number 4. We're going to do one more. That's going to be number 5, and then I'd better shoot off. So this is number 5. So this is Friday, September the 17th of 2010. This one is Madison, Wisconsin, Associated Press. A state lawmaker is calling on Governor Jim Doyle to remove a Wisconsin prosecutor who sent inappropriate text messages to a domestic abuse victim. Democratic Representative Fred Kessler of Milwaukee, a former judge, says Doyle should appoint an investigator to look into Calumet County District Attorney Ken Kratz's behavior. If the allegations of sexually harassing text messages to a woman are true, Kessler says Kratz should be removed from office. Kratz, a Republican, said Wednesday he intends to run for re-election in 2012. Meanwhile, the state's largest newspaper is calling for his resignation in an editorial published Friday. The Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel says voters should recall him from office if he does not step aside. The paper says Kratz, quote, has proven himself unfit for the job. So as I say, those are the first five in chronological order, going from, what were we saying? That was from the Wednesday, the 15th of September, up to Friday the 17th of September. And that's where we'll leave it there and come back to the next half dozen or so. I better dash off. I've just also had a message come up from Mark to say that he had an issue with his power. I suspected that was the case. I say I need to dash off, so I'm going to quickly send a message back, and hopefully we'll schedule for later on. Okay, catch you soon. Bye for now.